Hi everyone, welcome to Thankful Thursday. I'm a couple minutes behind today, so thank you for your patience. So in keeping with this week being International Women's Day, I thought we might talk about some yoga for assisting with menopausal symptoms. So let's talk about some of the symptoms. Some of the most common ones are going to be hot flashes. So we can do some either slowing down of the breathing. If you slow down the breath to between 6 and 8 inhale-exhale cycles per minute, that is said, especially at the onset of a hot flash, that's said to have a very cooling effect on the body. It's going to put you into rest and digest. And there is some research that says that that might even help to reduce the frequency if you do the slower breathing for 15 minutes at the onset of the hot flashes, as well as we have a couple other cooling pranayams or breaths. Anxious, if you're feeling like kind of anxious or irritable, we can do some forward folds. It's going to shut out the outside world, all those distractions, help us to turn within. So it's very calming and soothing to the nervous system to do that. Fatigue, you can do, if you have a practice of doing, full back bends, you're always welcome to do that, or you can do the supported back bends, which are going to open your chest and heart, so that's more uplifting. And it helps to put you into more energized, more joyous states. If you're feeling down, kind of depressed, sad, or having mood swings, supported back bend is definitely something we can do there. It's also going to stimulate the adrenals. It's giving that massage with the block or whatever you're using to support it. And it's going to bring more oxygen to the heart and the lungs, so that can be uplifting as well. You can do shoulder stand if you have a more active practice, supported of course for uplifting the mood. And then we have kind of the typical brain fog kind of memory issues. So they say that inversions like downward facing dog are really good for that, because we're getting the blood, the oxygen to flow into the brain, which helps us to focus. And of course, it's stretching out the body too, which is always a good thing. And it's going to encourage that deep full body breathing. And then of course, Shavasana is going to be very restorative, taking the time for oneself. So if you would like to practice along, you might want to grab any props you have. I would probably use a couple blocks, a blanket, and a pillow bolster kind of deal. Of course, take care of yourself. If you have anything going on medically, physically, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. This is not a live class, so I can't see what you're up to there. That being said, I do like to use peppermint oil when I'm experiencing kind of some hot flashes. I put a couple of drops on the back of my neck. It has a very cooling effect. You can take the doTERRA one anyway internally, and that's kind of, it puts me into a more focused state, kind of lifts me up a little bit as well. So I really like peppermint. It's very affordable oil too. Clary sage is great for promoting states of relaxation. It can also be used, they say for if you're having some cramps before menopause, when you're still menstruating, it's good for the whole female cycle. It helps you soothe and calm down, but it's great for just calming any kind of stress. So I like it for menopausal symptoms as well. So that being said, let's get into a position to begin to meditate today. So finding your way into a comfortable position for you. I invite you to take your peace fingers. The other fingers will curl in gently. And we're going to take our peace fingers down to each side. And if the ground is there or chair, whatever, the tree just moved. Plant them into the mat. You can soften the gaze or close the eyes and just begin to really slow down the breathing. So remembering that, a lot of the symptoms of menopause have to do with fatigue or hot flashes kind of thing. So we don't want to be doing the ujjayi or the ocean sound, because that's a heated breath. So we want to just be taking our nice 3-part breath, maybe lengthening the exhales a little bit longer than the inhales. So really just slowing everything down. Keep in mind that each one of these symptoms could be a class in and of itself. This is kind of a combination class, but just holding that hand position if it's comfortable for you, lengthening up through the spine, lengthening your exhales, taking your time. Knowing that this hand position in yoga is known as Bhuma Mudra. It's the gesture of earth, so it's a very grounding position for the hands. It's going to open up the first chakra, which is our Muladhara, our center of safety. We're also directing the breath and the awareness down to the base of the body. So it's going to be a very calming place to keep the hands. It can reduce anxiety, lower blood pressure, and help to assist us in cultivating patience or stability. It gives us a sense of security and consistency. And if you like, you can repeat the following mantra silently to yourself. Feeling the support of the earth beneath, I am calm and grounded. Feeling the support of the earth beneath, I am calm and grounded. And so you can either keep your hands there or just release them into a comfortable position, continuing to breathe, keeping the eyes either softly gazing or closed. And so Christiane Martin said, when your world moves too fast, you lose yourself in the chaos. Introduce yourself to each color of the sunset. Reacquaint yourself with the earth beneath your feet. Thank the air that surrounds you with every breath you take. Find yourself in the appreciation of life. And isn't it interesting, I wonder if you already know, that we all go through periods where we feel like the world is spinning or off balance, like we can't keep up. And it can seem counterintuitive to add more things to the day at these times, yet adding certain practices actually creates more space. One of these practices is to just simply stop and take a few deep breaths every few hours. You can repeat on the exhales a soothing phrase like relax now, just in your mind. And you know you have to breathe anyway, so why not take advantage and make it count, lengthening the exhale, saying something soothing to yourself, moving yourself into that rest and digest. And of course, perhaps depending upon where you live, taking a brief walk in nature to clear the head can be a great practice. Maybe you simply have the time to take a moment and gaze out the window at whatever nature is around you. And if you are doing either a walk or window gazing out at nature, you might even contemplate naming 3 things you see, and then naming 3 things you hear, or maybe even 3 things you smell, to get you back into that present moment awareness, to open up your focus, if you will. When we get tense, we tend to have a tunnel kind of focus or vision. Another great way to start or end the day is with the daily gratitude list. You can list a few things you're grateful for in the moment, small or large, does it really matter? And so I'd like to invite you now in your mind, take another nice big belly breath in, and then as you exhale, let come to mind a few things you are truly grateful for in this moment. Whatever they might be for you, just letting whatever comes up, come up. That's right, nicely now. And gently coming back to the room. Nice. So we've already talked about slowing down the breath, lengthening the exhales. And there's another cooling pranayama breath called Sitali. I'll actually be doing Sitkari. We'll talk about that in a moment. It's going to soothe the endocrine glands. It can lower blood pressure. They say it calms the mind. It can lower acidity in the body. It can reduce some hunger, quench some thirst. It has anti-inflammatory effects on the skin itself. So any contraindications would be, of course, doing any kind of breath work. If you're not feeling well, if you're, clogged up, if you have a flu or a cold, maybe asthma, bronchitis, or chronic constipation, any kind of gastric problems, you might want to ask your doctor before practicing this pranayama, or if you have very, very low blood pressure, or if you're in an environment that's very, very cold, because we're doing this cooling breathing. Other than that, it is fairly safe. It's not very hard. So Sitali would be curling your tongue, creating a straw, and you stick it out. I am one of the, I think it's like 25% of the population that cannot curl my tongue into that U, so I can't demonstrate that for you, but you would stick your tongue out, make the U, suck air in on the inhale through your tongue, which is like a straw, and then you place the tongue at the top of the mouth, kind of behind the teeth at the palate there, on your exhale through the nose, because the tongue will be nice and cool from the air coming in. So the difference between that and Sitkari, which I will be doing, is Sitkari, your teeth are kind of close together, your lips are parted, so your tongue is going to be already kind of behind the teeth and up, and Sitkari means hissing. So on the inhale, you're hissing, you feel that cool air hitting the tongue, and then you take the tongue up to the roof of the mouth, exhale through the nose, and you feel the coolness of the tongue on the roof. So it's a very cooling breath. I hear some people like to use it for migraines. I'm not sure if that works or not, honestly, but it is very cooling. So we'll begin with a few of these if you'd like to follow along, and if not, you can just take those slow breaths. So inhale, hiss, roof of the mouth, exhale through the nose. Two more. And then pausing after the exhale, just noticing any shifts, anything you're experiencing, what that was like for you. And so if I wasn't clear, the tongue goes more on the exhale towards the top of the roof of the mouth, towards the soft palate, not behind the teeth. So the Sitkari is behind for the hissing, and then it moves way up and back. And then gently coming back to the room, allowing the eyes to open if they're closed. So warm-ups can be however the body is called for, because as I said, this is kind of a general kind of class for a whole host of different kind of symptoms. So we'll just take it nice and light. So you might spiral. One thing that I do want to mention is that, you know, when we're feeling overheated, hot, we might want the armpits and the inner thighs to get more air. It's an Ayurvedic principle. So I'm going to keep my arms out a little bit here. And I'll reverse the direction. I'm going to take my right hand to the side and inhale that left one up and over, stretching it out. And then again, inhale up, and we'll switch sides. Another thing you want to do, Ayurvedically speaking, is to keep a soft gaze. Focusing with the eyes is very kind of heating as well. So you can kind of gaze down or keep your eyes nice and soft. So we'll come to a table position now, or all fours. And so very gently moving the spine. You can exhale and round, inhale and arch. So we want to keep our spine soft, flexible, fluid as we age. Nice. You can do little hip circles, anything that your body is calling for, of course. Then we're going to actually lower down into a Sphinx pose. So for Sphinx, the forearms are directly behind the wrists. And the toenails are pressing into the mat, and we're just gonna hold and breathe so you can keep that soft focus and just breathe here. So Sphinx is a little bit stimulating to the sympathetic nervous system, which can be good to conquer fatigue, or if you're feeling kind of sad or sluggish, it can be slightly energizing, slightly rejuvenating, and of course we are getting that stretch. We want that supple flexibility in the bones as we age. You can press back up to a table pose. And then if it's appropriate for you, tuck the toes and come up into Adho Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog. You can walk it out a little bit. So our downward facing dog is a great inversion for memory, for brain fog, because we're getting the oxygen, the blood to move into the head, so it's very clearing. It's also very good for stretching out the back, the legs, the shoulders, honoring your body, of course. You can walk it or hold it still. And taking those nice full breaths, slowing down if possible, maybe lengthening the exhale, which is a calming way to breathe. And then inhale that right leg, bring it forward. You can lower your back knee down into a lunge. You can always use blocks here if you prefer to do it the more restorative way, or you can come into just lunge without them. So maybe you take your arms up if it's appropriate, maybe you open them. You can also interlace them behind you. You want to get that air into the armpits and the groin here to cool down. So just breathing. So we're also stretching out the psoas muscle, the hip here, which is great because we hold a lot of our emotions and tensions in there sometimes. And so we're going to release that by stretching it out in a slow hold kind of way. And it's also going to help us to get the breath to move freely through the body. When we're stressed or when we have hormonal changes, sometimes we begin to breathe more shallow. So this is going to really open the breath throughout the body. And then, you can hold that a little longer if you like, or when you're ready, you just switch it out. And we'll move to the other side. And so, if we're doing a more yang practice, you definitely want the knee over the ankle. If you're going to hold for a while in yin and you have good, flexibility in your joints, no pain, you can take the knee a little bit farther forward. But if you're not used to that, it can be a little bit intense. So sometimes I hold this pose 3 to 5 minutes. Of course, I'm not going to be doing that with you guys today, but just know that you can always alter this. Arms are where you want them to be. And, maybe you keep the gaze a little bit softer rather than up to the sky for that cooling. And when you feel about even on both sides, you'll lower the hands down, step it back to downward facing dog. Pausing again here, we want to move nice and slow. We don't want to be creating heat in the body for this purpose. And maybe you take for the purposes because of the way I'm facing, I'm going to take the left leg up. I know we usually do right, and open up into a warrior 2 here. And so again, the eyes are a little softer than normal. I'm just breathing in my warrior 2. So this is great for focus, great to stretch out the body, keep the joints and the muscles soft and supple. And it's good for focus as well. I'm gonna power push that leg straight, turn my palms forward. On an inhale, reach out. On an exhale, I'm gonna windmill into my triangle, lifting the arch of that back foot. So again, I'm gonna put my gaze down for today with the softer eyes. So the arm is up, if possible, to open up the armpits. So we're opening up the groin, the armpits here. This puts a good kind of stress on the hips, strengthening the hips. Good for our bone density, for our flexibility. We want our hips to be nice and strong. Believe me, I know I had a hip replacement in June. I'm just breathing here. And then to come out, return to warrior 2. I'm going to pivot the feet forward here. You can pigeon the toes in slightly a little bit if you like. We'll fold forward into a prasarita, so you can make it more restorative and put your head on a block. You do want your weight to be a little bit forward in the toes, or you can pull the hands behind the ankles, the heels. Again, you want your armpits and your inner thighs, your groin to be open to the air, cooling you down, slowing it down, breathing. The forward folds are taking away the external stimuli, distractions, so that turning within, which can be calming if you're feeling a little anxious or irritated. And then soften the knees to come up. If you have any tendency towards osteoporosis, you also don't want to roll the spine up. You'll need to flat back up. And then switching sides. And if you don't like long holds, you can make a dynamic movement. Just move slowly so you're not warming up too much. And you'll power push that leg straight. Inhale as you reach out. Exhale as you windmill. Maybe looking down. And then coming back up. Pivoting the toes forward. We'll toe heel our feet in here. You can always circle out the hips nice and slow. And then reverse that direction. So Prasarita, that wide-legged forward fold, is going to put attention into the pelvis as well. So it can tone the pelvic area. Get blood flowing there as well. If you feel like you might want to move the joints around, you can do the churnings. So you might do 8 each direction with the ankles. We already did the hips. Just moving nice and slowly, of course. You can do the knees. You can do the full body, kind of serpent-like movement. You can roll the shoulders. Even sighing can be very calming and soothing. Maybe you move little tiny circles with the neck. I like to bring my elbows together. I'm going to lift my arms up so my armpits are kind of open now, and circle out my wrists too. And then reverse that direction. I might open and close a few times. Parting the feet, I'm going to take a fist to a lymph node and a fist to a kidney. Just a little gentle kind of detox shift side to side here a few times. I'm going to shake anything out that I want to shake out here. So we're going to come into another forward fold. So we already spoke about if you have any tendencies towards osteoporosis, any spinal problems, you don't necessarily want to round down. So you might, if it's in your practice, do a kind of flat back and stay in that kind of half. And then see how far you can lengthen down. If you like, you can take the peace fingers around the big toes. So that's pulling the elbows apart, opening up those armpits. And yet stretching out the lower back, stretching out the backs of the legs here, lifting the belly up and in. And then you can release, maybe you softly walk it out in ragdoll. Honor your body wherever you are, of course. And then we can step it back to downward facing dog. Maybe you take a few breaths here. And we're going to come forward to table. You can part your knees and slide back to child's. Use any props you like. So child's balasana is one of the greatest poses in my opinion for so many things. So here we're kind of opening up again the armpits. We can rock the forehead to massage that third eye, taking ourselves within. We can shift the hips here a little bit. You can always use props to make it more restorative. It's very calming and cooling. It has that internal focus, of course. And then we're gonna come up and sit off to the side and bring the legs out in front. So we can do this two different ways. You can make it more restorative by bringing a bolster with you. So we'll be doing a forward fold. So, you know, it's fine for me with a lot of yin yoga to just kind of hang out like this, but I realize a lot of folks aren't going to be very comfortable. You can always put a little eye pillow or a little soft cushion towel rolled up underneath the backs of both knees so they don't hyperextend too much. And then you can kind of fold forward like this. I like to have palms up for receptivity, but down is grounding, so whatever you need. And so this is another pose that you can really hold for quite some time in the restorative fashion like this with the bolster anyway. So we'll just hold for a few more breaths. So another way to do this would be to do it with the legs wide, and that's gonna, I knocked everything out. That's gonna get the air into all of the areas, the armpits and the groin. So depending on where you're at in your practice, what feels good to you. And again, the forward folds are gonna internally take you into a place within, getting rid of the outside world. So it's calming to the mind, to the nervous system. So we'll hold for 4 more breaths wherever you are. And then slowly coming up out of your forward fold, whether it was wide-legged or Paschimottanasana. And so we're gonna move the bolster off to the side for a few moments. We're gonna come down onto the mat. So using any cushion if you have anything going on with the spine. So we'll move into some back bends now. So if you have a full back bend practice and you feel like sluggish and you want to move into that full back bend, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, you can take a block and do a supported bridge. So you can do it nice and low. So I call it baby bear, papa bear, or mama bear, papa bear. And my back really needs a good big stretch right now, but choose the most appropriate one for you, of course. And so our back bends are our heart openers. We're getting the oxygen into the lungs and the heart. It's uplifting to the spirit. It tends to bring a sense of joy. So if you're feeling sad, back bends are going to be more the way to go. And it's going to massage, of course, the adrenals, the kidneys, and the lower back here. And so taking those slow and full breaths, perhaps lengthening the exhales again. So if you're wanting to do back bends and you have a more active practice and you are perhaps wanting to do a little bit more, you can release the blocks. You can stay there, or you can move into a plow or a supported shoulder stand. So plow to snail can take you within. I wouldn't necessarily do snail because that's going to close off all those places and can create heat, but plow is stimulating to the brain And so is the supported shoulder stand here, Sarasvatanasana. And so that can assist with memory, focus, etc. And a different kind of option if you're suffering more from fatigue or lack of sleep is, I would probably do it with my legs up a wall, but I don't have a wall, and so I'm going to put, and you don't necessarily need it, it's just more relaxing, so legs up the wall or Viparita Karini is said to be very good for fatigue, because you're draining toxins, inflammation out of the legs and the feet. So it's a more gentle kind of inversion. It's calming and cooling on the nervous system. So usually done against the wall. Like I said, can't put the wall and the camera in the same area here. So wherever you are, you might release out of whatever back bend you've chosen, whether it's supported bridge, shoulder stand, plow, or Viparita Karini. If it feels good to you, you can bring the knees in. I'm going to keep them a little wider today to air out the groin, armpits kind of deal. Might even open up into a straddle if you like that, or a happy baby instead. So that's going to rock out the lower spine there. So then we can move into a restorative heart opener. So you could always do a reclined hero. The one that's really kind of nice because it opens everything up again, as far as groin and armpits, as well as being a gentle heart opener, is to do a reclined bound angle or Supta Baddha Konasana. So one way you can, and you can always cover the hips with a blanket if you feel kind of open and vulnerable. You can kind of roll a blanket as well and place it underneath the ankles like so, making that kind of noodle out of that. I have some neck issues, so I like to bring a block behind me. Most people don't do that, so that's up to you. So again, the groin is open. You can always have a blanket over here. The armpits are open. The chest is open. And you can soften the gaze. You can close the eyes. You can have an eye pillow on. This you can stay in just like legs up the wall, 10, 15 minutes if you have the time. It's just relaxing. So we'll hold for about 5 more breaths here today. And then when you're ready, you'll come out of that. We're going to move props out of the way to do a supine twist on the mat. And then move into our Shavasana, our final resting. So you could keep the props nearby if you want to use any of them for your actual Shavasana. So for the twist today, I'm going to lift my legs, I'm going to scoop my hips a little to the left, I'm going to gaze right, and bring both knees over, and then I'm going to flatten out that left shoulder, and I'm just going to breathe here. Once again, that nourishing, stimulating stretch to the kidneys and the adrenals here. And then I'm going to come back to the center. I'm going to shift my hips off to the right and take my knees to the left. Flatten the left shoulder. Same thing, breathing here. And I'll bring my knees back up, square off. I'm going to bring my feet down. You can always hug the knees in. I might windshield wipe my hips a little bit side to side. I'm going to do a movement from somatic cat stretch. I'm going to just tilt my pelvis and do a couple pelvic rocks to massage out my lower spine so I can keep my armpits and groin getting some free flowing air in there, cooling things down today. But if you like to hug the knees in, I do like that as well. And then you can find your way to that Shavasana, final resting pose, of course. Making yourself as comfortable as can be. Just letting the whole body be nice and comfortable on the ground, feeling all the places where the body contacts the earth. And feeling the top of the body, the air lighten, massaging, maybe even tingling, sense of airiness. Also feeling that whole body resting on the ground. Just allowing everything else to go aside, focusing just on the breath. And bringing your attention within, perhaps repeating silently in your mind, may I be well, healthy and strong. May I be happy. May I abide in peace. May I feel safe and secure. May I feel loved and cared for. And perhaps letting someone who is very near and dear to you come into your mind as you repeat. May he or she be well, healthy and strong. May he or she be happy. May he or she abide in peace. May he or she feel safe and secure. May he or she feel loved and cared for. Now allow that experience, that sensation to radiate out to any neutral beings, just folks you might see around but not really know very well. As you think in your mind, may they be well, healthy, and strong. May they be happy. May they abide in peace. May they feel loved and cared for. And that's right. Allow that sensation to move on out to anyone you may have had some conflict or resistance with in the past as you think, may this person be well, healthy, and strong. May this person be happy. May this person abide in peace. May this person feel safe and secure. May this person feel loved and cared for. Now, perhaps allowing that brilliant sensation of love to move out to all living beings. It can be human, animal, celestial if you like, however you like to do it in your mind as you repeat. May all beings be well, healthy, and strong. May all beings be happy. May all beings abide in peace. May all beings feel safe and secure. May all beings feel loved and cared for. That's right. And feel as you send that love out to everyone, everything in the universe, how it comes back to you naturally and easily. Just basking in that sense of love and peace for a moment. Allowing the breath to return to normal, perhaps beginning to wiggle fingers, toes. Maybe you move the head a little bit side to side. If you like, you can take an inhale and stretch your arms and legs out. If you want, on an exhale, you can hug them in again and rock out the lower spine. And making your way to a fetal position, whichever side is most comfortable for you. And pausing here, perhaps resting the cheek on the upper arm. And thanking the body for all it does for you. And taking a moment to say something kind and loving to yourself now. And taking as much time as you like when it is right for you. Draw the navel muscles into the spine to protect the lower back. Press the elbow closest to the mat and opposite hand into the ground. And begin to circle the hands using that upper body strength to return to a seated position. And if you like, you can bring your thumbs to your forehead for honest thought, to your lips for honest speech, and to your heart for honest intention. And namaste. The light in my heart shines and the light in yours. So thanks so much for being here for Thankful Thursday. Tonight on Zoom, myself and Karen Han are doing our second of 5 pandemic problem-solving workshops using multimodality approach, NLP, meditation, hypnosis, breath work, all kinds of good stuff, some mindfulness, some embodied practices, some EFT as well. And that's going to be at 7 o'clock tonight Eastern time. She's in Chicago, so I think it's 6 o'clock Central time. It always messes me up. Let's see. The last Monday of the month is in-person group hypnosis here. I believe that's March 29th here. It's going to be on the art of forgiveness. The Saturday before that, we're doing another, because it was so popular, sound bowl healing. So all the bowls are down in the studio. We have limited seating for our in-person things, of course. Thursdays, we mostly, not always, sometimes I have other obligations, but sometimes, most of the time anyway, we do this Thankful Thursday. I'm always open to any suggestions you guys have. Love to hear from you. And let's see what else. All the videos are up on YouTube, usually a couple hours after this is done, so they're available to you for free. We appreciate any likes or joins on that. It's all free, of course. Also, I'm involved in the Yoga Warrior competition. So you'll see that, probably post above or below this one. So I could use your votes every day. For the next 8 days, you get a free vote. The benefits of the paid votes go to the veterans. My dad's a Vietnam vet. My grandfather served in one of the world wars, so I am really a fan of that. And let's see, anything else? I hope that you guys found something to be thankful for today on Thankful Thursday. And if you'd like to reach out for private hypnosis, NLP, EFT, aromatherapy, yoga therapy, yoga meditation, then give me a shout out. All right, take care and thank you very much. Namaste.